Well, welcome back to day 3 of the student contest, Win a Scut. And I am excited to be doing this again with Stephen Hill. Thanks for doing this again. This is for our 3rd day in a row of doing this. So thanks for doing this, Stephen.
Man, I'm just about worn out. This judging is hard work. We have so many great entries.
Yes, I imagine the emotional toll on you has got to be tough to say no.
I want to give way more prizes than I'm actually giving.
Well, this is the 7th annual contest that Scut has provided for the students. And it's pretty cool that Scut cares that much about the students coming up and into the ceramic world. And traditionally, they've given away the Scut wheel, specifically the Stephen Hill Scut wheel, named after you. That must have been quite an honor to have a Scut wheel named after you. There's not a lot of people that have had that happen to them. In fact,
it's an honor, but what I'm waiting for is the dollars to start rolling in. for that endorsement.
Well, I'm excited to be doing this day 3 with you, and we've got 3 distinct prizes for you to give today. The third place prize is $25. The second place prize is $50, and the first place prize is $100 that the students will be getting. And I'm telling you, if you are a college student and you're getting that extra $25 to $100 extra into your bank account or your pocket, that is a huge thrill. So a big thank you goes out to Scut for sponsoring this contest. So yeah, big stuff.
A little extra beer money there.
There you go. Well,
or maybe clay money.
Clay money is what we're looking for. So yeah. Okay, so we now have our day 3, and you had to go through all of the contestants today. And so tell me which of the 3, or I'm sorry, which student today won 3rd place?
3rd prize goes to Alex Dahl.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, let's jump in and see Alex's work. So what was it about Alex's work that stood out to you?
Well, I imagine, I know nothing about Alex, but I imagine in seeing his video that when he's not making functional cups, he's probably a sculptor, because he does a magnificent job of sculpting a face into the bottom of this cup. I kind of like to imagine drinking out of this cup and having a dark liquid in there that kind of obscures the bottom of the cup. until until the liquid is consumed. That way, it would be quite a surprise and maybe a bit of a shock to see this person with a very strange squint on his face emerging from the bottom of the cup.
Well, it'd be a great pick-me-up in the morning. First thing you do in the morning, you see that face coming up at you right there. That would
It might
be pretty
make me
impressive.
think I should go back to bed, actually.
If this is the day that I'm going to be facing, but would be quite fun.
In addition to the face on the inside, the outside profile of the cup is very nice too, and it's a total surprise to see the face, because there's no hint of anything like that going on when you look at the exterior of the cup. So.
Yeah.
My hat's off to Alex for doing a really good job of kind of having a little surprise on the inside.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I love that you picked that one, because that definitely deserved some kind of recognition. So thank you for picking Alex. So your second place winner, who did you choose for second place for day 3?
Second place is Hallie Archibald.
Hallie Archibald. Okay, let's check out Hallie's work.
Her work was quite different from anything else really submitted or chosen for this contest this year. A little trompe-l'oeil action, making a flask, a water bottle, something that every person watching this is totally familiar with from their private life. And from a technical standpoint, she does quite an admirable job, and the lid that she makes for the top even has a screw fit to it, and it looks like she did that all by hand. But she surprised us in the end with her particular logo. It's coming up here.
There it is. Yeah.
It's got a Scott logo on it and a Scott flask.
And it unscrews.
And actually Scott gave me an extra $100 just to choose her because of the connection with Scott. In fact, I think Scott might commission her to go into production on these for staff. I think it's a good idea.
Oh, that's a beautiful one. I'm just so impressed. And making the threaded lid, that is not an easy thing to do. And so
no,
I'm
that's one of the more difficult things that anybody, I think, could attempt in ceramics.
Yeah, I love that. Wow, what a great choice you did on that one there, Stephen. So, wow, that was second place. So who did you come up with for first place for day 3?
Well, first place on day 3 is Danielle Hawk.
Danielle Hawk. Okay, well, let's check out Danielle's work.
Definitely a woman here. Okay. And I think that the piece that she made in some ways is one of the more unique drinking vessels. She actually made a pair of vessels. And one of the things that's going on here is she makes 2. One of them is textured, the other one is plain, and then she cuts them apart to make a reassembled vessel. And as you see the textured and the smooth one being cut apart and reassembled, to me it just is incredibly interesting the way she combines all the smooth and textured pieces to make the final pair.
Wow, that is very inspirational. That's
and
wow.
the way she let the slurry kind of squeeze out of the seams.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the way she handled the clay, the way she finished it with casual quality. There is one thing that bothers me. If this were a pair of vases, I would have said they were absolutely stunningly beautiful and perfect. But as cups, I'm not sure I can imagine quite drinking out of those rims.
I don't know, Steven.
But
If I look at those cups, you've got the rough part of it, and then you have a nice smooth finish part where that would be your lip placement right there. So I think you could
well,
pull on
I
to it.
guess I understand. I see what you're saying, Paul. I hadn't thought of it that way. I just imagined maybe cutting my lip on the on the sharpness. But I
No.
really like this pair a lot, and I think she was the only one that did a pair of drinking vessels.
Yeah, that was
I like
beautiful
that.
right there. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
What a
So
great set to be finishing out the 3-day contest with. That is
yeah.
the first
So
place for the first.
congratulations
Mhm.
to Alex, Hallie, and Danielle.
Yeah, good
Day
stuff.
3.
Well, now, Stephen, I think it's time to turn our attention after we've done day 1, day 2, and day 3. I guess our next installment will be the grand awards. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that in just a few minutes here. You've got the functional award and the person who actually wins the Scott Kiln, which is an 818 touchscreen. And I'm pretty excited to be able to hear who your choices are for that. So until next time, Stephen, thanks for doing this with us, and lots of love to you.
And the pressure's on now. Thanks, Paul.
Hey, just wanted to pop on here real quickly, just as a reminder. We've got a special thing that Stephen is doing after each day of the recordings of with the demo. So Stephen, why don't you tell us what's going on?
Thanks, Paul. As one of the highlights for NSECA for me is being able to do a demo at the Scott booth each time. It's always a throwing demo of some kind, since I am a wheel thrower. But I recorded 3 throwing demos that will be featured with each of the 3 days of the contest. On day 1, my demo is throwing a tulip mug, which is my term for one of the shapes of the mugs I make. Day 2 is a tankard, flat bottom, taller, like beer mug. And on day 3, I'm doing a demo of Unomi, a handleless vessel for drinking tea. And each of those videos is about 20 minutes long, so they're fairly involved. I throw, I trim, and I pull handles in the demo, everything up to the point of glazing and firing. So please check them out along with the video entries from the students.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing those, Steve. Thanks for doing them.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Stephen, we did it. We did a full 3 days of judging, and now it's time for the student contest to come to a conclusion, where the student contest this year, which is the Win a Scott, that we've been doing this for the last 6 years. It's our 7th annual year with Scott sponsoring the student contest. And this has been an amazing group of creative and talented art students. And I'm excited to be able to hear who it is that you are going to be picking today. But we've got 2 categories, Stephen, that you've come up with. You've got the functional award that is designed for student who made the piece that you felt would be the most enjoyable to bring into your kitchen and make it a part of your daily life. And then you have the overall winner, who is going to be winning a Scott, an 818 with the EnviroVent and the furniture. And what is it that they have to bring into the whole process to make that kiln of any value?
Talent and clay and glaze and hard work.
Nice.
So they have to supply actually more than Scott does, but if they win the kiln, they have no excuses for why they can't keep making pots after school's over.
That's right. And you've been doing this from the very beginning. Have you been judging these from year 1?
I have judged every year.
Wow. That's amazing.
And it's quite an honor to be asked to judge every year, and it's quite an important job to come up with winners that I think are deserving. It's an impossible job, but I do the best I can, knowing that it's always subjective.
Nice.
There's no absolute winners and losers. It's impossible to take out the opinion part of it. And so I will just say thank you to everybody who entered the contest. It's quite an amazing step for somebody who's a student to take, because it bodes well for how you will approach a career once you're out of school. You've got to always take that step forward to apply to shows and to talk to galleries and to promote yourself. And this is the first step in that.
Nice. Very good. Okay, well, let's jump into this for the grand awards that we have here. You had a new category called the Functional Award, and I'm very curious, Stephen, who was the person that you chose as being the one that you wanted to give an award, who will win $100 cash value, or cash? And who is that person that's winning this?
Well, first of all, as I was judging, I kind of started to realize gradually that the people who were winning the awards tended to be the people that inspired my imagination, that were creative, but not necessarily making something that I could imagine actually having in my kitchen cabinet. And so there was one person that stood out as kind of doing both really well, and I decided that she probably deserved her own category of functional award. So you'll have to oh my, you'll have to excuse my difficulties with your last name, Jen, but it's Jen Dadagian or Dadagian.
Dadagian. Okay.
Dadagian.
Nice. Okay, well, let's see why you picked her work. I'm really excited to be able to see this. So tell me about Jen's work that really stood out to you.
Okay, the thing about Jen's cup is that she made something that was first of all a cup that can be used without thinking about it. It has kind of a very comforting textured surface, which I can imagine running my fingers over as I'm using it for morning coffee. And it's got a nice wide bottom, which would be comfortable to set down without worrying whether it's going to fall over. And the handle I find rather inspired. It has a handle that's got a lot of energy to it, but also one that looks as though it would be comfortable to hold on to. And this would go right along with the many different coffee mugs that populate my cabinet.
Yeah, that's a beautiful cup right there.
Yeah, it's casual, but yet it's super straightforward and functional, and I don't have to worry about it tipping over.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful texture on there. I love that choice.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, congratulations, Jen.
You know, the texture works visually, but also it's soft enough that I can imagine it will just feel good to rub my fingers over it while I'm drinking from it.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful cup. Beautiful choice, Stephen. I really appreciate that one. So, okay, the one that we've been waiting for all this time now, I'm very curious. Who did you choose for the grand prize winner to win the new Scud 818 with that touch screen controller, the furniture, the Envirovent? I am really excited to hear who you chose for this. So who is that?
Well, with apologies to her name, it's either Brianna or Brianna Ferreira. That's as close as I can come up with.
Nice. let's check out her work.
And actually, before, put that on hold a second.
Okay.
But before we watch your video, I just want to say that one of the things I've had difficulty with the whole 7 years that I've judged this contest is that the discrepancy between the grand prize and the first place winners is very great. It makes it seem like the grand prize winner is head and shoulders above everybody else. Well, that's not really true, although I'm very pleased with what Brianna did. The other first place winners in day 1, 2, and 3, I think are all could have had this place and deservedly so. So let's get on with Brianna's here. Her piece is unique in that it's actually a 2-piece pot. It's a tripod stand and a cup that sits on the tripod stand. And you'll see at the end of this video that it's actually changes significantly depending on how you look at it. So there's the base, and there's the cup going on the base, the bottom of the cup and the side of the cup, these kind of very soft circular designs. I really think it's quite an inspired piece. I would probably not use it because it would be too much trouble to always get out the tripod base while I'm using the cup. But I think it's a great piece, and I think that she is very deserving of the top place here. And Brianna, I hope you can use the Scott 818 and you'll use it to be a springboard for your career after you graduate.
Well, Stephen, this has been a lot of fun to do this with you, and congratulations to Brianna, or Brianna, however her name is said, but then also congratulations to all of the participants that participated. Day 1, we had Oliver, Kate, and Eva that all won a prize, and then day 2, Emily, Emma, and Mike, and then day 3, Alex, Haley, and Danielle. And I am intentionally avoiding some of the last names, so I'm not saying any of the last names. And congratulations.
Yeah, it's not fair because we didn't even hear them. We only saw them spelled.
Yes, that's true. That's true. And then Jen winning the functional award, and Brianna winning the Scott. So, well, I'm Paul Blaze with the Potters Cast. Stephen Hill here, who's been doing the judging, and I'm so excited that I was able to do this with you, Stephen. So thank you, and lots of love to you, Stephen.
Well, it's the same to you, Paul, and I'm honored to be able to judge the contest and to be able to pass on a little bit of positivity and to the people that were award winners in this process. But I want to extend that same positivity towards everybody that didn't get their name mentioned here, because just making the videos, entering the contest means that you have the wherewithal to actually turn your work in ceramics into a career once you graduate. So congratulations to everyone.
Yes. And a big thank you to Scott for sponsoring the student contest.
Oh, yes. Scott's amazing in the way they support the student community. Okay, today I'm throwing and trimming a Unomi. For anybody who is not familiar with the term, this is my version of a Unomi, and Unomi is a Japanese name for a vessel for drinking tea out of. It's a casual, everyday vessel as opposed to a ceremonial vessel, as would be used in a tea ceremony. And the rules of Japanese society has a lot of rules about how things should be, and to be a Unomi, it needs a trim foot. It needs to be taller than it is wide. A lot of ceremonial tea bowls are wide enough that if you used them for everyday drinking of tea, it'd be really easy to spill the tea. But beyond that, there's no special reason, no special rules that go into it. So this is just my version. I'm sure a Japanese person would probably say, well, that's way too tall, because they often hold them like this so you don't burn your hands when you're drinking the tea. And if it were an inch shorter, it would be a little easier to hold. But anyway, I'm going to throw one of these, and I'm going to trim one that I made yesterday. For those of you that watched me make the Tulip Mug on Monday, wait a minute, it wasn't Monday, it was the first day, the first day of Ensika. I'm not even sure how they're going to go up on the Scout website, but the first thing I threw in any event was a Tulip Mug, and this has got a lot of the same characteristics to it. Okay, so I'm centering this kind of like a doorknob with a smaller stem, so I don't have too much extra clay to get rid of down there. And since it's going to have a trimmed foot, I'm leaving about a ½ inch of clay down here to give me plenty of height for the foot. I use my stainless steel scraper to just flatten that and give a slight dished out effect to it. So then the pot actually begins with a ridge at the bottom. You can see I'm kind of roughing in a shape here. Where this pot really differs from the Tulip Mug is that it has a kind of a waistline down here towards the bottom that will be an opportunity to kind of work with. By the way, this actually is one of my favorite forms that I make, certainly for drinking vessels, but certainly not one of my favorite forms to sell, or not one that sells well like mugs do. I don't know if it's just the fact that they don't have a handle. When people buy drinking vessels, I guess it's that they like a handle to hold on to, and it's the only thing I can figure out. Take some of this extra clay out from under the foot. It makes it easier to finish this part when I do that. Okay, so I'm going to start off by altering the rim. I'm squeezing, pulling upward. Kind of the same thing I did on my two earlier demos. Trying not to pull all the way to the rim. Kind of letting the clay stop my pull before it gets to the top. I always like to think that my inspiration for doing that is looking out at the hills and valleys in the landscape. I remember distinctly the first time I did it. I was in a studio in Italy and looking out the window at a row of Italian cypress trees and the hillside with rows of probably grapevines, and so it was beautiful. And I thought, oh my God, I want my rim to look like that. I don't always remember inspiration, but it's not like it was an original idea. I had seen it on many Japanese pots before that time, but I'd never actually done it myself. And then, of course, after I do this, the trick is to make this undulating rim relate to the other things that are going on the pot. In this case, it'll be this ridge down here towards the bottom and the waistline. A little location on here. Use my Kemper S4 scraper to draw a similar line. So you see how I'm pushing that up to make a more of a cohesive kind of line statement. The thing that makes these pots one of my favorite is what I'm going to do to the waistline. And it's going to be two different things. First thing, I'm going to make a transition undulating line. And on this kind of a connecting line, there's just something more magical that happens, more freedom to the mark than is down here or up here. Now, the last thing I'm going to do to this form is I'm going to put a couple of belly buttons on it. A little Chris Guston influence there. And what these do is they give me finger hold. When you're picking up one of these pots, your fingers just kind of fit in those holes and it feels good. Well, I think it feels good. Kind of knocked my rim wacky here, so I have to go back and establish the round. Now, final thing before I take this off the wheel is going to put some finger marks under here, which will influence the trimming of the pot. You'll see that as I'm trimming on the next phase of this. Similar, you know me, I threw yesterday, and it's ready to trim. It's nice and leather hard at the top, a little bit softer down here with the finger holds on it. So, and also the finger marks on the bottom. I'm going to show you how that can influence the trimmed foot on this piece. Oh, in case you didn't see my earlier demonstration, this is a conical shape of semi-wet clay. It's not leather hard, it's not fresh thrown, it's kind of midway in between. It just kind of grips onto the pot and holds it in place for trimming. With the uneven rim, it really helps a lot. So I start by cutting back in here far enough to get beyond those finger marks. So I have a nice crisp bottom to the foot. And then I slowly trim and let the trimming tool fall into the depressions made by those finger marks. For somebody who doesn't like to trim, this is so tedious. But it's important to do it slow, because if I was going faster, you know, if you're driving a car down a road and there's a pothole and you hit it at 60 miles an hour, your tire just kind of skims over it. But if you're going 5 miles an hour, you fall down in the pothole. So that's what I'm trying to do here, is fall down in the pothole. Kind of a guessing game to know how far to trim. I can't put my finger in there to measure it. So so I have to just kind of go on intuition. Clay down here is still soft enough that I can kind of, I'm not really throwing it, but I'm able to manipulate it enough to make the foot almost look like it's been thrown in place. And hopefully you can see the line that bends and curves where the foot joins the underbelly. That's the whole purpose behind pushing those finger marks in there and trimming the way I did, is so that I can create a line down there that relates back to what's happening at the top of the pot. Sometimes the clay sticks a little bit too much here and I have to wet my fingers and kind of get rid of that roughness. A couple of finished Unomis that have been glazed and fired cone 8 oxidation. About 5 glazes on each piece with 3 to 4 layers in certain places to get the transitions and to create the microcrystals that kind of define the surface of my pottery. So thanks everybody.